We change that a little. Porsche Salt and Falling Whale, thank you both for the Twitch follows. Welcome to the Doghouse. Nova Digi Tanuki, thank you for the Twitch follow as well. Welcome to the Doghouse. Let me pop out the YouTube chat room. What's up, Dragon Cat? How you doing? Helios, thank you for the drink water redeem. I do not have water in front of me, so I can give you ginger beer or I can get up to get water in just a minute. Hello, unlucky pedestrian. Hello, Voice of Madness. Lil Lemon, thank you for the 10 months at Tier 1. Welcome back to the Dog Home. I appreciate that generosity. What's poppin', boss? Everything. It's been a great morning. I finished all the deck reviews for the week yesterday. D and I went out for coffee this morning. We practiced with Riftbound decks. It was great. The aura is crazy, by the way. Squirrel, my day's been good. My day's been good. I haven't worked out yet, so that's why I didn't clickbait about workout. Z and I are going to the gym after stream today. So on either Friday's stream or Saturday's stream, we can update the workout streak then. Did you get any food at the coffee shop? Yeah, we got a little overpriced sandwich. It was a tremendous treat, and it made me very angry. Boss, I'm feeling good. When I dropped payday in 2023, I had 847 achievements. Since mid-January, I got back into it, and now I'm up to 902 out of 1328. That is an amazing, if mildly concerning achievement, Jomi Bug. Good job. Grumpy Dragoon, thank you for the 17 months at Tier 1. Here to let everyone know that Trump unilaterally gave $10 billion to his peace council that he is the chair of. Now I'm off to yell into my car on the drive home. That is the correct response. I mean, they got Prince Andrew. They got Prince Andrew. They can't pick up Trump. Come on. King Homer, thank you for the 15 streams in a row. Welcome to the dog park. Hellcat, thank you for the 3 streams. Welcome to the dog park. Thoughts on drawing cards? Love it. But the Dow, hold on. Nope. We can do it. We can do it. Under 50K. Under 50K. Are we pivoting to motivational speaker streamer? We're not pivoting the whole stream, but here's the we're gonna do the manual ad break in a second, and then we're gonna get into the thing I want to talk about today before we do the TMNT review. Well, yeah, Jace, and they got who was it? Capone on like tax evasion. Eagle Eye, thank you for the 15 streams in a row. Welcome to the dog park. Okay, anyway. Are we pivoting to motivational speaker streamer? No, but here's what I want to do. For both, well, really for all 3 of my channels, for Vodhound, Freakhound, and for Maldhound, what I want to do more of is I want to have more, like, we vamp so much, and the whole time I'm vamping, I'm making content. And a thing I'm trying to do in this season of my content creator career right now is I'm trying to leave less stuff on the cutting room floor. Like, I'm trying to do more. If I'm making content, I need to go try and get paid for it. Not I need to sell it to somebody. But if I'm doing stuff where the point is, I think this is entertaining you people, which is what the vamping's doing. I'm up here, I'm trying to entertain you guys. I'm trying to make your lives better, give you some form of enjoyment. If I'm doing that, I should be publishing it. Flat out. And if I'm not going to publish it, I should not do it in a public manner. Like, there's plenty of reasons I should have solitude. I should read books. I should do puzzles to improve my neuroplasticity. I should work out to keep my mind right. But if I'm going to stream it and then just not try to make it any money from it, like, if I don't think it's good enough to publish and show to people and be like, hey, watch this, I think you'll like it, I probably shouldn't be streaming. I'm wasting both of our times. So, to that end, a thing I want to try today is I'm trying to spend a little bit of time each morning before I stream and the night before and think about, is there something on my mind that I feel like I can talk about either with authority or with enthusiasm? I don't necessarily have to be an authority on everything I speak about. I speak about opinions plenty of times. But I need to care about it. I want to have something I care about to talk about. And so the thing I thought about yesterday was related to motivation and discipline and making your life better. I have other stuff that's like on a later day this week. We'll talk about the lack of a heuristic study ban and some qualms about that. Isn't the Twitch money you make from it? Theoretically, Chessabel, but not really. Like the money I make per second being live on Twitch or being live on YouTube, almost nothing. The money I make from Twitch, like I make money on Twitch because I make a funny joke and somebody subscribes. I make money on Twitch because I go on a rant and somebody who really empathized or resonated with the thing I said is like, I want to support that. I'm going to gift 10 subs. And so sometimes those will translate where me talking about nothing resonates well enough that I get a little tip for being a jester like Taramelon's saying. But most of the money I make on Twitch and on YouTube is made off the back of me talking about something I care about. So I'm trying to lean more into that. So it is the money I make from it, but I'm trying to have less, like right now I would say almost every stream has 60 to 90 minutes of material that will never see the light of day, that I would never cut out and publish as a video. And I'm trying to do a little bit more. If I'm going to take that time in stream to do something, I want it to be worthy of the cutout, or I at least want to go into it believing that I'm about to make something worthy of the cutout. Doodles, thank you for the 9 months with Prime. Welcome back to the dog home. 9 months of sub babies ready. Also, I saw what's in the Precon. What do you mean they put those in? We'll see in a moment. Are you talking about the discussion yesterday? I doubt it. Nothing that happened yesterday is what caused this to happen. I've been thinking about this for a while. No. You didn't. Nobody. This is not like I did not close the stream yesterday and then have this epiphany. I've been thinking about this for the last like week or two. And today is just the first day where I've really felt like I have something actionable that I care about, that I think I can talk about in a compelling way that I would want to share with other people. That's it. It's not that complicated. Not that complicated. Nothing's going wrong. I think Stinky Boy content is watchable. That's so kind of you. That's incredibly kind of you. So, Hedgeman, we're going to have customs today, but I'm making the unilateral and unfair decision that I am going to turn customs on at a random time during the stream, and I'm not going to vocalize it. Because something that's been really frustrating me is, as much as I try to make this look ad hoc and ad-libbed, I do have a plan every day, and it very much bothers me that I had them live at the beginning of stream, and like 5 people locked them up immediately, and then for the next 2 hours, it's every 3 minutes, hey, are we doing customs yet? Hey, we're doing customs yet? Hey, we're doing customs yet? And that's my fault, because I'm giving you guys the option, and I'm incentivizing you to ask me about it. It's a thing that's totally in my control, and I have Pavlov you guys into redeeming it and then wanting to ask about it, because right now you have no idea. So we're going full random. Alec, man, don't worry about you being annoying. Here's what happened. You did a reasonable thing, and then I annoyed myself. You don't have the power to annoy me. I have the power to annoy me. And the reason that getting asked about it over and over and over again annoys me is because I know that in my head, I had a schedule for the day. I had a plan of things that I wanted to do and when I wanted to do them. And then I took actions that are causing the people that I want to be entertained and engaged to be thinking about something that is not the thing I'm trying to focus on. That frustrates the hell out of me because my goal is to have a very, very compelling show. So you don't worry about being annoying. I set this up in a way to annoy myself. And I'm going to change that now. So what I'm going to do going forward is we're going to set them live at a random time. If you get one, you get one. But when I set them live, we're doing them right there. It's like maybe I'll call it out. That might be better. I might go custom card time. Set the redeems live. Get your 5 in. We're stopping. Pit stop. 5-10 minutes. Do them all right there. Hey boss, did you see the 2K world record was broken? No, that's dope as hell. Who the fuck did that? Shaper, that's very kind. I appreciate that. Aegis Athene, thank you for the 200 bits. Ooh, I knew the answer. Take a selfie with a head full of hair. Aegis, I'm sorry to say I've already forgotten what that was in response to, but I trust that was a good burn. I trust that was a good burn. Hey boss, for Saturday, if you submit a deck but have to leave, is it disqualified? I have to work a theater show shortly after the stream starts. I'm not telling you. Good luck, though. Let me look at this. Ali Zeidler went 534.7. Of course it was that big German nut job. Holy shit. Why not have an official clock like we do the point redeems at hh.mm? I'm not going to do that because the schedules that I have in my head, I do not have official time periods. I know I want to do this, and then I want to talk about this, and then I want to look at this, and then I want to talk about this. I never know exactly how long those things are going to take, which is why the stream schedule is often so all over the place. Bald, you're banned. Ridiculous. Churlish. Arrogant. Anyway, so if I promise a set time, we're going to get into the exact same problem as me making them live at the beginning of stream, because I can never promise, oh, at 60 minutes in, we're going to have the stream clear. Like I knew coming into stream today, I want to give people a little bit of time to get in, get settled. I want to do the manual ad break, and then I want to do this little speech. That might take 20 minutes. It might take 40. I know the things I'm going to do. I don't know exactly how long they're going to take. And so I can't promise, or it doesn't help me to promise, oh, an hour in, we're going to do our pit stop, because I might be in the middle of some shit that I think is very compelling. And I never want to pull off in the middle of a thing I think is compelling. Hey boss, what commander would you suggest for a bald Kindred deck? I feel like Grand Arbiter, are they an advisor? Let me check that. They're an advisor. I would do Grand Arbiter. No, because you get, because there's not an Azorius Teferi creature to my knowledge, so you want an Azorius creature so you can get all the Azorius planeswalkers that are Teferis. Yeah, Teferi is right there, but I think if you put Teferi in the command zone, you can only get mono blue. If there's an Azorius Teferi planeswalker that can go, or if there's an Azorius Teferi that can go in the zone, yeah, do Teferi. Hell yes, Ontario. Thank you for letting me know. Any ideas on a commander for a Jelking deck? How are you a doctor, bro? That's not right. Everyone, I need us all to come together on this. Dr. Ryan is an MD and came in this stream and said, any ideas on a commander for a Jelking deck? God, man. Mimeoplasm. That's big ER doctor energy. Dr. Ryan, can you confirm or deny whether or not you work in the emergency room? I'm not telling you, Marty. I'm a fucking chiropractor. Oh my god. If I can't make the stream on Saturday due to a prior commitment, how do I submit a deck because I like what I came up with? You probably hold it for next month, to be quite frank with you. Based on the interest that the shorts I posted about it are already getting, I am expecting that this stream will be a success. If the stream is successful, it will occur again next month, and hopefully it will occur again with more prizing next month. Because what I'm going to do, the minute that stream ends, I am going to look at the stats, and I am going to send them to my sponsor, Cool Stuff Inc. By the way, code MALD for 5% off CSI. I'm going to send those stats to Cool Stuff Inc. And I'm going to be like, look at how much better these views are. You should sponsor this event. And what I'm going to hope to get is either they will put up product as part of the prize support, or they will put up store credit as part of the prize support. And I'm still going to put up cash, but I would love to spread it. I would love to spread it between like top 3, top 5, give it to more than just the top 1 person. So if you can't make it this Saturday, but you think you built something really good, I'm not going to get there this Saturday. That's okay. Don't you want to get your content sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends? This would be the perfect opportunity to demand they raise their offer. I haven't spoken to Raid Shadow Legends in over a year, but very, very good callback. You should poke the prof about it. I will, based on the success of this, one of the tangents is going to be, I want to get more prize support. The other tangent is going to be, I want to have other known commander creators enter, and maybe enter cognito mode. What dirt do you have on Cool Stuff for them to still sponsor you? I move like $8,000 worth of cards every month. That's the dirt I have on Cool Stuff. No, it's like more than 10 grand. That's the dirt. There's more than there's like 5 figures worth of sales associated with my code every month. So that's why. That is a lot of cards. Is there any chance you just don't get through all the submitted decks given that there's no cost to enter? There's a decent one, yeah. We're going to go for probably 4 to 6 hours until my jaw gives out, but it's very possible that at like the 5-hour mark, we run out. I think it is... This is the last numbers thing I'll talk about. Eileen, we're still going to have the normal... this is not a custom card stream. So what we're going to get this stream is the 3,000 point redeems. Normally, Thursdays are custom card streams. I would advise you to get in the Discord and follow the stream announcements channel so that you can keep apprised of this stuff, because I was going to do custom cards today, but I didn't feel like it. So on future Thursdays, when we are doing custom card streams, we will have the 100 point redeems. We're always going to have a free way to enter, no matter how much money I make. I'm always going to have a free way for people to enter. I think it's bullshit if I don't. It's first come, first serve. We're going chronologically. Life is Shade, thank you for the 5-bit cheers. Thank you for sending it to me twice. It's good for me to know. Like, I'm not a perfect deck builder. I've gotten a lot better at it doing the deck roasts. But it's really good for me to, like, I think a great thing for me to see was how much worse Thrawn Dynamo got when we cut the lands down. Because in my head, I thought, oh, we have so many other mana sources, we can probably still, like, flip up to 4 and get the Thrawn Dynamo down, and then we're good forever. And it just wasn't true. Because I'm normally recommending Thrawn Dynamo into decks that are like, we can go a little slower, we have 38 lands, we're not going to miss so many land drops. So I think it's very, very good for my development as a deck builder to make sure that I can keep giving you your money's worth to see things like that. When you guys finally going to host your very own CEDH-like format when I'm a millionaire? For Bullet Hell, are we going to spam the decks in chat? No, I'm going to have a Google form link in chat. Lorraine, thank you for the 4 months at tier 1. Welcome back to the dog home. I appreciate your generosity so much. When are you going to be a millionaire then? $10 years. I need a deck roast. Help. Combo Lab. You got a couple options. you can, we got commissions going live on Ko-Fi every Sunday. They're sold out this week. You can pay $500 live to derail any solo stream, and I will roast your deck live. That started out as a joke. It's very much not a joke now. You can also pay $694.20 to have me go get my girlfriend, Z-Main Character, who is also a content creator, and we will co-roast your deck. Your other option is Saturday we are hosting a deck building competition where you can win $250 for having the coolest deck, and you can submit for free. It's first come, first served, noon PST. The only catch is we're not going to review your whole deck. The moment I see something wrong with your deck, I'm going to play a Vine Boom sound effect, and you're going to be ejected. So if you want a full deck review, your best bet is to wait for the Sunday commissions. I'm all perfect deck builder here. I feel my deck building abilities are hindered by so few Abzan commanders. You're real for that, genuinely. There's more than you think, but a lot of them is not as flexible as you think. Mauled, how much money should we donate to get you on Commander at home? Don't donate anything. I'm going to handle that. I'm going to handle it. Pagman, thank you for the 7 streams in a row. Welcome back to the dog park. There isn't a single cool Abzan commander. Thoughts? I mean, you're lying. Anixia is right there. Hell yeah, Lebowski. I'm devastated to tell you those shorts are doing dog shit, but I thought they were good. Horrifying. Noon PST combo. But Enchantress is boring, but Anixia is right there. New Doran's funny. You actually know, Starry Eye's not here. A deck we're going to build together that I think I want to build as a content deck. I want you all to know, I pitched this to Starry-Eyed Nightwing, and they turned this down. They turned this down as a thing to do. So do we know this bit of like guy with a little ice cream hook? You go to get your ice cream, he hooks it away, he puts it back in, you try to take it, he hooks it away, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And it's normally meant to be like a funny little bit. So Starry wanted a deck like this. They sent in an Abzan thing that wasn't working. We changed the commander over to Yannick Scavenging Sentinel. The partner's Nakara. Nakara doesn't matter as much, but Nakara is black for color identity. This is an Abzan deck. And I pitched to them, if you want to do Turkish Ice Cream Man, what you should do is Abzan Reanimator, curve out into reanimating something big, and then turn 4, drop Yannick, put the massive Reanimator threat that has like an ETB and a big stat line under Yannick, make it a commander damage threat, and then if they remove your Voltron commander, you get Valgavoth back. You get Archon of Cruelty back. And they rejected that! They turned that pitch down! So I'm taking it now. So we're making that deck. At some point, not today. We're making that deck. So that'll probably be my first Abzan deck. And it'll be like the whole deck is just gonna be, what can I do so that by turn 3 I can have like Armagon on the battlefield. Maybe a better thing than that. Or like Galta. The thing is, I want an ETB too. I really think this is better. I really think this is going to be better if you have an ETB to go with it. Yeah, maybe ETB Galta. And then I just go, oh, my commander's a 13/13. Would you like to remove it? Are you sure? Yeah, I already said Archon of Cruelty. We're going to get Archon in there. Are you building any decks right now? I'm about to be building this one. We're going to go to the manual ad break because I do want to do this motivational speaker thing. I feel good about it. Crab, my favorite commander right now is Vivi, but for Vivi Stompy. Isn't that what Yannick is in the first place? Yannick can be, but you can also the other commander's a 3-drop, and so you can also just build a very like Abzan counter slop deck. Drag Queen in Space, thank you for the Prime sub for the 14th month in a row. Welcome back to the dog home. Oh, Helios, my fault. Hold on. Hold on. Where you at? Where you at? Oh, Breaching Dragon Storm and an Eris Roar of the Storm deck. I'm not sure. We can circle back to that later. I want to do manual ad break and then get going on this motivational thing so we can do the TMNT thing. Noob, thank you for redeeming ASMR time. That doesn't really do anything outside of League, but we are doing League after the Turtle stuff, and so I will give you ASMR time at the beginning of that. Hell yeah, Paper. Skinny, if you had to make your version of a War Crimes deck, who would be the commander and what kind of War Crimes are you doing? I think you could just call my VV deck that. Like, I think my VV deck lines up pretty well with, like, Nick Cage, Lord of War, because I'm laundering a tremendous amount of mana to spend on bazookas, which is inherently fraudulent. What's up, Shep? Is you haven't missed anything big yet. We've been talking about Magic. We're about to talk about the power of the promise in your daily life. The TMNT stuff is not slop, Devin. I stand by Wick the World Mind with Infect being the most war crime deck out there. Nah, that's like normal war. That's just Genghis Khan shit. Genghis Khan catapulted like the bodies of sick and dying soldiers into the cities he was sieging. That's just that. Wick the Mongolian mind, bro. Good Sir Mauld, what was the coolest thing you've ever done? Too many things. Depends on the arena. My life has been very cool. Disregarded, this is a weird question, but since you are dating a non-binary person, do you consider yourself LGBTQ in any way? On pure technicality, absolutely yes. Z does present relatively femme, and so I'll tell you what. I don't really consider that definition in relation to my own life in any meaningful way, is the best way to put it. Because I'm trying to think about how to say, like, oh, I don't think about that in a way that doesn't minimize it. But I think it's like, Z is my partner. Right, Marty the Goat doesn't matter. And Z presents relatively femme, but they're non-binary. And does the label matter? And it's never mattered. I've experimented with dudes, though. So, like, yeah, I'm a little gay. Now, I experimented with dudes and really didn't like it. So, take that for what it's worth. Bone Lord, have fun at your commander game. Any budget suggestions for an Is It Scrub? Oh, hell yeah, Captain Omelet. Where he at? Where he at? This guy, especially if you want to play casual. Very, very fun. Ramp into big dumb stuff. I love Galazeth Prismari. I love comboing. Can I piggyback and ask about the use of girlfriend instead of a gender neutral term? Just something not worth stressing over. It's something Z and I have talked about, and Z is comfortable being referred to as my girlfriend. So it was something, I would not say something worth stressing over, but it was something worth asking them about, seeing how they felt, and they felt okay with it. So there's no stress to be had. Yeah, 360, thank you for the Prime sub for the 5th month in a row. Welcome back to the dog home. Sir, you dropped some love and whimsy. Thank you for picking that up for me, King. That's crazy. Hello, Just Linguini and Existential Breads. Thank you for the 9 months at tier 1. Why would you tell me to have some Mpreg? Alright. Da 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 da. Oh, thank you so much, Calamity. It's good to see you, Sea Dog. Let me collect my thoughts, because I've definitely scattered all my brain cells to the wind talking about Commander for a moment. Spellbreaker, I'm not gonna talk about that because we can't talk about the Yannick deck. It's gonna distract me. I gotta reorder my thoughts. Because I spent like the 45 minutes before stream pacing in my kitchen, trying to think about like, oh, do I care enough about this to talk about? What do I want to talk about? And I got it all lined up, and then I sat down in the chair and I was like, yeah, we can talk about a little bit of Magic, and now 30 minutes have gone by and I've forgotten half my bullet points. Carlos, I'm not telling you. Broad statement. If you have any question about the Saturday Commander Deck tournament that is not covered in the FAQ I posted on TikTok and YouTube, the answer is I'm not telling you. How excited are you for Saturday? I'm not telling you. Okay. Chat's trying to distract me. Chat's trying to distract me so hard right now. It's not getting to me. It's not getting to me. I'm watching your thoughts pass by, but mentally, I am on the summit of a mountaintop right now. Get his ass. He is trying to be stoic. That's crazy. That's crazy. All right. Let me move this because this is going to be in the way. Okay. We're going to record for this because I am going to post this to either Vodhound or Freakhound. Did I freeze my OBS? A little bit, yeah. Okay. So the thing I have been thinking about recently, I've been thinking a lot about motivation, about discipline, because I have recently gone through a period of burnout in my own life, and now I'm coming back out of that burnout, and I'm trying to figure out, how do I get myself to do things? How do I get myself to change in the way I want to change? How do I get myself to follow through on the things that I want to follow through on? And I've been thinking a lot about how we talk to ourselves and the promises we make to ourselves, and how the promise is the most valuable tool we have in the world. It is literally like magic. We can push air out of our lungs, and we can permanently change the behavior of either ourselves or the people around us. Like, that is insane. And yet, promises don't work for nearly any of us because we have misused and mistreated and beaten them down into a shape where they are unrecognizable. So we're trying to build our lives with a broken hammer and an empty toolbox. Because if I were to ask you about promises and what is the most broken promise ever, it'll probably take you like 3 seconds to come up with the New Year's resolution, right? Maybe you have one friend who held to their diet, who got that promotion, who was still in the gym by November. But for every one person who does it, you have like 9 people who don't. But messing up the promise didn't start there. It started back when you were a kid. Because think about the first promises you ever made. It was almost always to an authority figure of some kind. You had to make a promise to your parents. You had to make a promise to your teachers. You had to make a promise to a sports coach that you had. And the types of promises we had to make were always promises of uncomfortable change. And what are the 2 things the human mind does not want to do? Be uncomfortable or change. And so you layer all of these promises that we don't want to follow through on top of each other when we're 5, when we're 10, when we're 15. And inevitably, we break one. We don't follow through on a promise. I'm sure we all remember one of the first promises we broke is like the day you figured out how to lie. And at the time, it might have felt a little bit freeing, but I don't think any of us have realized the actual cost that it had. Because when you start breaking promises, 2 things happen. One, if you cared about the promise, you beat yourself up, right? You think, I'm a failure. I wasn't good enough to do this thing. I can't believe I let him down, her down, myself down, whatever. But the second and more insidious thing we do is when we break a promise, we stop trusting ourselves. We no longer see ourselves as an authority in our own lives. We no longer see ourselves as somebody that is able to predict what is going to happen in our own lives. Because a promise is just a prediction of a future action. That's all a promise is. It's you saying, I predict in the future, I'm going to act this way. So when we start breaking our promises, even if we don't think they're big ones, slowly but surely, one step at a time, you stop seeing yourself as a reliable predictor of your own life. Spiritually, this is where you become that TV weatherman who's been predicting clear skies and sunny days through the middle of a rainy winter. And that is where you begin to die. That is where you go into months of brain fog. That's when you live life on autopilot. That's when you wake up and months or years have gone by and you've never done any of the things you said you were going to do. Because if we can't trust ourselves to be a reliable source of information about our own lives, how are we going to be a reliable source of influence? Tell me, you can't do it. If you don't even trust yourself to predict what's going to happen, how can you trust yourself to influence what's going to happen? I'm not talking about predict in the sense of like know everything that's going to happen around you all the time. But you have to have an authority that you trust in, and that authority should be you. Many of our lives get twisted when we externalize that authority. You know, we trust Andrew Tate. You trust Donald Trump. You trust some idiot you see on Twitch. I'm not telling you to trust me. I'm telling you, you have to trust you. And if you don't trust you, none of your promises matter. You'll never change. Because not only are you trying to predict that you're going to do something difficult, you don't even trust that you can predict anything. And so what I'm going to tell you to do is if you're in that place of you don't trust yourself, you've made promises and you keep breaking them, and a pattern a lot of people get into because of how our media is lined up right now is the way we try to fix this is we raise the stakes. Think about like David Goggins. Think about like Rocky. Think about sports documentaries. They always line up the narrative of like, nothing's working for me. My life sucks. But this time, I'm going to bet everything. I have to get it this time or else. If I don't get it this time, I'm done. I'm putting all of me on this. And because I'm putting all of me on it, I'm going to succeed. The problem with that is some of us don't think we have anything left to put on it. We can't go all in. We can't bet everything we have because we see ourselves as nothing. And if you see yourself as nothing, I can tell you that's not true. As an external person, I can tell you we all have something to give. We all have something worth doing, worth living for. And you can say it to yourself in the mirror and it's never going to connect. Because when you look in the mirror, you see in that weatherman predicting sunshine, you've been standing in the rain for 3 years. And the counterintuitive way we can course correct this is you gotta promise yourself that you're gonna be who you already are. All it takes is one, to start building up this self-faith, to reaffirm to yourself that you can predict and influence what's happening in your own life. And so when I say promise yourself what you already are, I mean if you think you're fucking up, one time, try promising yourself that you are going to fuck up in the way you already are. If you're trying to hold to a diet and you can't, promise yourself you are going to eat some cheese at midnight. That type of thing. And it sounds dumb because it's so counterintuitive to the way promises have been weaponized to try to make us change in uncomfortable ways that we can't even see the use of why would I promise to be the same. That's not what promises are for. Promises are meant to bind me to be something better. But they can't bind you to be something better if they can't bind you in the first place. So I'm going to tell you a story that I think shows you how quickly this can happen. I was a rower for a very, very long time. And there was one day I was working with this young man who was on the high school team. So I was on the adult team. I was training, trying to qualify for international competition. High school team had a test day on the rowing machine. This was going to figure out, what boats do you get to be in for training for national championships. And there's like 30-something kids on the high school team. Head coach calls all the adults over and says, hey, all these kids look up to you all. I would love if you guys could cheer them on and like assistant coach them through this test. And so we all start filing in, pick a little group of kids we're going to cheer on. Coach pulls me aside, says, John, I want you to work with this kid because this kid's a failure. He's a quitter. Hasn't had a good test piece in 6 months. He sets a goal. He gets into the test. He gives up. We haven't been able to fix him. He's all in his head about it now. So I sit down with this kid. We talk about what his plan's going to be. Gets into the test. I'm telling him all the normal stuff. Focus on your breathing. Focus on your tempo. You're doing great. Don't go out too hard. Get ready. It's about to pick up. We get about a third of the way into this test. He starts quitting. Speed starts slipping. He's off his goal pace. I'm cheering him on. I'm like, you got this. Come on. You're going to be okay. You can keep going. Focus on your breathing. Focus on your movement. He keeps slipping. He's now gone from his goal pace, which would have been one of the better kids on the team. He's going slower than all the other boys. He's going slower than some of the girls, which is a really big gap in rowing. Because a lot of rowing is about how big you are. I'm still cheering him on. He keeps slipping. At this point, he's going, so about 8 minutes in is when this starts happening. About 90 seconds, 2 minutes after he starts slipping, he is now going the slowest in the entire field. There are like 110-pound freshman high school girls going faster than this guy right now. And so what I told him was slow down. Whole last year, big angry head coach had been yelling at him to stop quitting. I'd been telling him he got it for 8 minutes. He can't do it. So I tell him to slow down. And he gives me a little like quick over the shoulder look. He's still moving pretty quickly. He's out of breath. He doesn't have the breath to ask me, hey, are you a fucking idiot? We're in the middle of a test. Why would I slow down? But back then, even then, I knew This kid does not trust himself to know what is going to happen. He's going up to the beginning of each stroke and he's taking the stroke and he has no idea what's going to occur by the end. So I tell him slow down because I knew he could slow down. So after a couple times of yelling this at him, he slows down. He goes to, I know you're not going to understand what the paces mean, but his pace slows down to 2 minutes, 10 seconds per half kilometer. It's very, very easy pace. He stays there for about 10 seconds, and I tell him, okay, go to 209, which is 1 second faster, still outrageously easy. Gives me another look. I tell him again, go to 209. Goes to 209. I give him 10 more seconds there. I tell him, go to 208. He goes to 205. Because now he's beginning to believe a little bit. And I tell him, slow down. Go back to 208. We do 10 seconds there. And then I keep working him down 1 second at a time, and I let him go with maybe a third of the test left. I stopped telling him what to do. But over the course of 3 minutes, he moved back to his goal pace by being told to give up. And after being told to give up, he accepted me as an authority, as being able to predict and command him to do stuff. And you got to be that guy for yourself. He did not PR that day because he spent 4 minutes going slow as shit. But it was his best test in the last half a year, and the test after that, he did PR. He was one of the fastest kids on the team. And so what I need you all to do is, if you have something you're not following through on, you're not doing your diet, you're not going to the gym, you're not chasing a promotion, and you keep making firmer and firmer promises with yourself, and you keep beating yourself up when you don't follow through on those promises, promise yourself something disappointing for a change. Promise yourself you're going to sleep in. Promise yourself you're going to listen to your favorite song. Promise yourself you're going to eat that midnight cheese over the sink. Because what will happen is, even though it's not a good thing, it allows you to re-accept yourself as the arbiter, as the predictor of your own life. And even though you haven't predicted anything good yet, the first step is you have to accept yourself as being able to predict anything about your life. And once you accept that you can predict anything about your life, about your behavior, about how you're going to act, not what's going to happen to you, about how you're going to act, that is when you can begin to move the needle on predicting better and better things about your life. And I feel like that's what a lot of conversations about motivation and determination miss, because it always goes 0 to 100. It always goes, I was nothing, and then I made this big, gigantic promise to myself, and then I followed through. That can work for some people. But man, when those promises don't work, it devastates your ego. You totally give up. You shrivel into a little ball, and you just go on autopilot. So if you feel like you're on autopilot, promise yourself something bad. And then tell yourself, hey, I was kind of right. And then you can start moving up. All right, that's the recorded section. What if the broken promise was the engagement to your ex where you promised to spend the rest of your life loving them and then it fell apart? I had that happen. I think the thing you got to accept is you can't promise how you're going to feel over a long period of time. When it comes to things like engagement and marriages, it can be very, very hard because it's a promise between two people. And that promise requires both sides of the partnership to function. I think the way I got through it was selfishness, because I spent a great period of time thinking, well, I've made this promise. No matter how much I'm suffering, I need to uphold this promise because I don't want to break the promise. And it hurt me to break that promise. But my life overall got so much better. Because again, a promise is powerful. A promise is not necessarily a universal good. Right? Just because something is powerful doesn't mean we always want to do it. It doesn't mean that we always want to wield it to the utmost limit of its capability. And I think a lot of the promises we make with regards to marriage are pretty bad. You know, they've gotten a lot better, for sure. This is one of the best times in human history, I think. Like, it used to be about land ownership, primarily. And now we at least promise to try to have empathy for each other, to try to work together, to try to come out of things loving each other. But ultimately, marriage is more about a promise to the partnership than the other person. And if you're not there for the partnership, trying to be there for the other person is pointless. There's an incredible amount of overlap in those things. Being there for the partnership almost always demands that you're there for the person. And by being there for the person, you're almost always showing up for the partnership in some regard. So I'm talking about a very, very, narrow bit of non-overlap. But if you're not, I never think it's worth burning yourself on a funeral pyre while you're still alive. I think some people are big on sacrifice. I'm not huge on that level of ultimate sacrifice. But I'm a very selfish person. That's just my opinion on it. But I'm not. I think you need to compromise. I think you need to do things that are uncomfortable. I think you're going to need to go through great pains and great efforts to make any relationship worth working work. But I think when we try to hold ourselves to standards about, like, this was supposed to be the rest of my life, I think we're going into martyrdom rather than going into, am I being an honorable person who holds to their word? Because, like, one of the promises I made when I was married is that I was going to fight every day for our relationship for as long as I could. And I did for as long as I could. And eventually I couldn't anymore. At the time, my now ex-wife tried to tell me, no, you can keep going, you're lying. Which is, again, weaponizing the promise against me. And that's where I say, don't think of promises as leverage wielded by other authorities. Promises are a resource you have access to as the ultimate authority in your life. Think of them genuinely like JJK binding vows. There is a cost to breaking every promise. That does not mean it's never worth it to break a promise. Think about if you met somebody on the street. Actually, not met somebody on the street. Let's make it a little bit more personal. Say if your friend came over and said, do you trust me? And you said, I trust you. And they said, I want you to promise to stand right here and don't move for 10 seconds. Okay. Then they pull out a gun and pull the trigger. You should move. You're breaking a promise. You're going back on your word. You are damaging your friend's trust in you. You should get the fuck out of the way. Just because something has a cost to it doesn't mean it is untenable to do it. In fact, I ever met somebody who says I've never broken a promise, I don't trust you. Respectfully. Respectfully, if you think you have never broken a promise in your whole life, or if you're going to tell me you've never broken a promise in your whole life, I do not trust you. Not necessarily I think you are a bad person. Not necessarily I think you should be punished for anything. But my ears are up. So many of us have hurt or been hurt, and the people who purport to have not done that or never been that are the ones you should be most suspicious of. So the more I speak about it, the more I think the thing you need to do is you have to accept on your own level that you broke that promise and it was worth it to do so. Whatever things you need to work through to get to that point, those are going to be the challenges. But those are the challenges to overcome. You don't need to overcome a challenge about, oh, how do I be a good person if I've broken this promise? Oh, how do I love myself again if I've broken this promise? You need to get to the level of understanding of, I did break a promise. And it was a worthwhile trade. Hey, Big Mald, I'm rebuilding my Mirim deck. Any gecko with rings recommendations? Yeah, go outside and lay down until you get rained on for 10 years. Fuck you. Good lord. That's why I don't promise to be nice. Fuck asses like this. I promise to be real. Free life coaching? Bitch, please. I recorded that. That was good. That's going on the VOD channel, and that's going to make me $20. Free life lesson. Good lord. Yeah, there are levels to promises, too. Yeah, there are small promises, big promises. I think a lot of it, especially with addiction, as a recovering alcoholic myself, if I was trying to utilize this with respect to navigating addiction, and I wanted to make the bad promise, I wouldn't promise myself that I was going to have another drink. I wouldn't promise myself a relapse, because that's a very big step back. But I would promise myself that I was going to want to drink again. That's the solid prediction I can make. You're never going to be free of that want. And so whatever you're addicted to, rather than promising that you're going to relapse and engage in the action, I would promise that you're going to want to do it. Whatever you can do to line up future prediction, have it come true, then I can begin making predictions about how I'm going to act in response to it. So if you're struggling with alcoholism, it would be, I'm going to want to drink again. I have that happen all the time. And so if it's with those things, you know, if you're struggling with substance abuse, if you've been unfaithful, if you have been violent and hurt the people around you, I would never recommend promising an actual physical relapse, but I would promise I'm going to have the impulse again. We all know that impulse is going to creep back up. But you have to trust yourself. You have to accept yourself as an accurate, what's the right word? You need to believe that you are an accurate source of information about your own life. If you don't believe that, change is never coming. And I am very, very skeptical of all the other, because all the other methods of correcting this when somebody doesn't believe in themselves is snake oil salesmen will try to sell, will believe in me. Happens a lot with people who have co-opted religious language. Happens a lot with people in the right-wing manosphere. They say, you're a fuck up. You know you can't trust yourself because you've broken all these promises. So you got to trust me because I have my shit together. I trust very few of those people. But you can trust yourself to keep being a fuck up in the same way you've been a fuck up. Pretty easy. And then we can change once we have acceptance. Thank you so much, Hellbrooks. All right, that's going to be the end of motivational time. We're doing just turtle stuff. Change the title. This is somewhat interesting for me because I've tried promising myself that I'd get back to miniature painting for Age of Sigmar, but I'm just not interested in game right now. It's a huge part of the reason I made the custom set, to express my love for the setting without playing the game in its current form. But I eventually realized that I need to wait until I'm interested in the game again. Is that the kind of acceptance you're talking about? Exactly, yes. You are trying to use the promise as a club rather than a lever. Like you need that promise to be positive leverage for you rather than a weight around your neck. Like what I mean by a promise is powerful is I used this during one of the most athletically productive times of my life, and I would begin making bold and boisterous predictions about shit that did not matter at all. We would be doing like an easy steady state workout, and when I was at the depths of like had a bunch of mental blocks, had really low self-esteem, had very variable performances, I started making like big called shots about like, I'm gonna crush the last 5 minutes of this easy run. I'm gonna re-rack this barbell like a motherfucker. And after I made about 100 of those, I trusted myself as an authority on what was going to happen because I stopped saying shit that I didn't think was going to happen. I stopped making predictions about shit that I did not feel 100% confident I could do. And every time I did it, I believed a little bit more in what I could make happen. So 100 promises later that I upheld, I go into test day and I finally say, I'm going to crush this one. And then I started doing good. And so if you're using promises for things, if you're trying to wield promises as tools to help you solve problems you don't already believe you can solve, that's when you're likely to get brittle, to start breaking them. And if you're in that brittle place, what you got to do to heal the power of your own internal promise is you got to promise yourself dumb, meaningless shit. Like you start with, if you can't even do dumb, meaningless shit, you start with promise yourself that you're going to continue to be a fuck up. Promise yourself you're going to do something neutral. That's very easy. Then work into promising you're going to do positive stuff. And then it becomes something you have agency over rather than a weight around your neck. Like the way you talk about the promise for Age of Sigmar, it sounds like a weight you're carrying rather than a tool you're wielding. I try to make promises very, very infrequently. I try to use them sparingly because I need to make sure that every time I make the promise, I am going to follow through. And that goes hand in hand with abandoning language like, I'm going to try to, I want to, I'll probably do. Cutting that out is the next step. Keyboard, thank you so much. And Lemon, thank you as well. I appreciate the 15 streams in a row. Welcome to the dog park. I'm going to hit a 90-second ad break, and then we're going to pop open. Actually, we need a different slideshow for the Precon. The Precon review, I think. All right. Let's go to the rules. So I think a really important thing about any turtle deck, how many times do I want to say Cowabunga? It should be a lot. It's a 5-color deck, so we're going to check the dog shit mana base. Can they fight? I mean, I'm sure we're doing like mutagen synergies, which are +1/+1 counters, but these are karate turtles. We need them to be able to fight. Oh yeah. Does the deck make me want to order a pizza? Ooh, maximum number or maximum versions of one character. That's great. Does the deck make me feel like I'm playing Tony Hawk? I don't think it should make you feel that way. I think Is It Rad is covered by how many times do I want to say Cowabunga? Is the main commander a bitch compared to secondary commander? I heard they were doing like, you could use any of the turtles as a... Okay, hold on, hold on. I think do we absolutely have to put Donatello in the command zone is the check there. The final forecast, thank you for joining the dog home on YouTube. Does it have the 10 shitty, terrible, no good cards that are there to make new players feel smart for cutting them? That's a good one. Oh, Leonardo? Yeah, that makes sense. I don't know, man. Raphael's cool, that's all I know. Does it have 10 terrible cards I am meant to cut? Okay, great. That's all handled. We're going to go to the manual ad break because I got to use the bathroom, and then we're going to pop open the list. Okay. Is there one card that costs $30 to trick people into buying it? Definitely yes. Beautiful. Okay, where do I find this thing? TMNT, Precon. I'm assuming it's on Moxfield. There's like an official Wizards of the Coast. Yeah, I don't think that boy Blaze is the official Wizards of the Coast. I'm tired, dog. This one says Precon. I see an arcane signet, and I see a Wooburg commander. Oh, Moxfield Explorer. Oh, perfect. Thank you very much. Okay. From Wizards of the Coast, Turtle Power. All right, so Leonardo the Balance is in the command zone. Now I think we want. Hold on. I haven't started recording. All right. For the Turtle Power review, here are the rules. How many times do I want to say Cowabunga? This should be as high as possible. Does it have a dog shit 5-color mana base? Can the turtles fight, since they're supposed to know karate? Does the deck make me want to order a pizza? How many versions of one character do we see in the deck? The higher the worse. Is Leonardo obviously meant to be one of the commanders? Does it have 10 terrible cards I'm meant to cut to feel very smart? And is there a $30 no reason card to trick the average Joe into buying them? Yes, Tom Bruce, I'm aware that we are working with partner character select, so we can have two commanders that both have this ability. So like Donatello has it. What I mean by should Leo be in the command zone is Leo obviously so good that it should always be Leonardo plus a different turtle? Or is Donatello, Michelangelo obviously way better? So Leonardo the Balance, 4 mana. Whenever a token you control enters, you may put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. Wooburg, creatures gain menace, trample, and lifelink until end of turn. Holy fuck. Oh, the other ones aren't all 5 colors. Okay, so you have to do Leo if you want it to be 5 color. Yeah, that handles they can fight. I I love Cathar's Crusade. I love Cathar's Crusade so much. I think we should get it for non-creature things, and I think that once each turn restriction is actually extremely fair, and there's no way to make that crazy. Let's look at the other ones before we look at the other guys. So who could you pair with him? Donatello. If one or more tokens would be made, those tokens plus a mutagen are created instead. All right, so Donatello fucking sucks. Good. We have the 5 mana, just whatever commander. Michelangelo the Heart, a 2 mana 2/1 with trample, and at the beginning of your second main phase, if you attacked, put a counter on target creature and make a food token. Go. Okay. Kind of seems like Mikey over Donatello for sure. April O'Neil has it too. Oh shit, whenever a mutant, ninja, or turtle you control enters, investigate. Yeah. All right. Yeah, sure. Raphael, double all damage that creatures you control with counters on them would deal. On ETB, make a mutagen. I can't imagine, like, the doubling is sick. I cannot imagine it's worth it to put this guy in your command zone when you could just be turn 2ing a guaranteed token maker. Yeah, the 2 mana partners seem way better. I'm going to lock in a little bit too well for can they fight. That seems heinous. Oh, and then we also have a Splinter who can do it. So this guy, oh, another 2-mana one. Whenever Splinter or another non-token creature you control leaves the battlefield, make a mutagen. Garbage. Garbage. Incredible garbage. Wait, they put Battle Bond? Typed lands. Okay, not all typed lands, but we have some typed lands. We have a Path of Ancestry, which we always get. Target creature you control with a counter on it. Wait, is this second command tower now? Have we had this before? It's City of Ass. There's a City of... We have City of Brass and City of Ass. It's tapped. That's why I called it City of Ass. Yeah, enters tapped is fucking fine for 5 color. A tap land that taps for every color in the game, I'm alright with that. And it gives something lifelink. Holy shit. I think this is much better than Path of Ancestry. Like for in the context, yeah, it's City of Ass, but it's not legal City of Ass. Oh my lord, I'm gonna start banning you guys. This is very, very good. Like, it may not be as good in other decks as it is in the Turtle Precon, but when we have Leonardo, Cathar's Crusade at home, the balance in the fucking command zone, 3 mana to just give one of my massive beaters lifelink, and then we have City of Brass on top of it. I love that they're still rage baiting people with the thriving lands. I know they saw the internet get mad at that on the Ashling Precon, and they were like, put them in again. I need these motherfuckers to know. Okay, so this thing is gonna cost like $100 in no time. Just for people who buy it for the mana base. Like, people are going to be buying this. What's the price on City of Brass? This is a $20 card. People are going to be snapping this up just for the lands. Because I think the Battle Bond lands are relatively expensive too. Because so we get the Gruul one. We get the Golgari one. Do you get any others? Do we only have 2 or am I missing them? Only Gruul and Golgari. I mean, with City of Brass and City of Booty Cheek, since apparently we all hate the idea that I would call 2 cards City of Ass. That's a really good land base. Alright, what is aggro? Oh, this is just Voracious Hydra. Okay, so not a new card. This looks new. Whenever they enter or attack, each creature you control with a counter on it gains flying. Hot fucking dog. This is probably gas in the Precon. I don't know how many other decks you would put this in, because I think if you're doing +1/+1 counters in Simic, I mean, I guess you could do it as a non-Craterhoof overrun, because I think for Simic, you almost always have trample, and for Azorius, you almost always have flying anyway. Yeah, but you have flying or trample anyway. Alright, Bebop, a 2-mana 2/1 on Death Touch. When they deal combat damage, you may draw X, where X is the counters on Bebop. If you do, you lose X life. Fucked. Okay. Big Mother Mouser, 4-mana 2/2 on attack, double counters. When they die, make 1/1s equal to number of counters on it. Jesus. I'm pretty sure this is a card we've had. Casey Jones, when he attacks, put a All right, more fucking, yep, put a 1/1 counter on whoever. Whenever you put one or more counters on a creature you control, Casey Jones deals that much damage to target opponent. Interesting. Beautiful. Interesting. Dimension X Pizzasaur. Hold on. I gotta get the zoom in on this. Oh my fucking god. Oh, the blood pressure of people who hate Universes Beyond. Oh no. The pizza cutter hand, dude. Hell yeah, I want to order a pizza. Hell yeah, I want to order the pizza after this. That's one cowabunga. I cast that guy, I'm yelling cowabunga at the top of my lungs. What does it even do? It's a 4-mana 2/1. On ETB, put 2 counters on a creature. When you do, destroy up to 1 target creature with mana value less than or equal to the number of counters on permanents you control for 2 mana. Oh, and it's a food, and you can literally eat it. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Okay, so a destroy thing for... That's... I feel very bittersweet about this card. And I feel very bittersweet about this card for a very specific reason, which is one, it's excellent in the sense that it is removal stapled to another thing. And it feels like for the last 5 years, removal has been getting slowly but surely power crept out of Commander because the threats just keep getting better and better. And like single target removal specifically, like single target removal has never been amazing in Commander, but it's felt worse and worse and worse over the last 5 to 10 years. And this is like, oh, great, a fix. It's like a 4-mana synergy piece. I can sack it if I'm in Aristocrats. It'll put counters on stuff, and then it's also removal on the side. Wonderful. Finally, I can run removal again. And it's just the idea that, like, that's the bar of casual Commander now. The card's not crazy. It's just that, like, that's the hoop we have to jump through to make removal playable. That makes me a little sad, even though I think he's awesome and I love him. This deck feels less like a functional machine and more like a Commander expansion pack. You are smoking crack. Like, Leonardo the Balance plus... Like, I put Michelangelo the Heart and Leonardo the Balance in my command zone. I draw any 2-drop or 3-drop. I am a functional machine. This is, like, we've seen 10 cards in the deck. This is a functional machine. What is the... Wow. This could be way less responsible. Doesn't matter. Okay, Donatello the Brains. If you would make tokens, make a Mutagen 2. $37? Is blue really that hard up for just any type of token doubler? Or is it just because it's not officially released yet? Okay, Electric Seaweed, a 4-mana mono red 0/4 with Defender and haste on ETB until end of turn. Whenever another creature dies, this creature deals 1 damage to each non-wall creature. What the fuck? What? Okay, so we can't flash. It doesn't have flash, so it's not like we're playing this in response to a board wipe. Although maybe, do we have Blast Act? Actually, that wouldn't matter, because Blast Act, you kill everything anyway. So this is like... I play this... Oh, wait, it's almost like Massacre Girly. Because I play this, I haste tap, I shoot anything that's a 1/1. But that only deals 1 damage. So if there are 2 1/1s on board, I can start a Massacre Girl ladder with this little freak. That's fucked. No. It's not strictly to nuke the 1/1 token forts. It's strictly to nuke the entire fucking table. Because the moment we have two 1/1s, we go, I tap it, I deal 1. I deal 1 to everything now. If a second 1 toughness creature died, I deal another 1 to everything. All the 2 toughness creatures are dead. Next, all the 3 toughness creatures go. All the 4 toughness creatures go. And my board probably doesn't go because guess what? I've put 50 fucking counters on everybody. Wow. Okay, this is Vigor. Oh, great. Yeah, Jesus. I can't. The comedic potential of this precon is too good. Like, it's too good for just making everybody who hates Universes Beyond have a fucking heart attack, because you get to go, oh yeah, have you seen my Vigor Electric Seaweed combo? Have you checked out how Vigor combos with that one scene from the NES underwater level? Bozo. That's amazing. All right, then this guy who's extremely whatever. Humongous Fungus. Oh, it's just a counter doubler. Irma, part-time mutant, a 3-mana 1/1 at the beginning of combat. Irma becomes a copy of up to one other target creature you control, except her name is Irma, part-time mutant. She has this ability, then put a +1/+1 counter on her. That's evil. What? I'm putting that in every blue deck ever. So a legend rule breaking clone, and she grows herself every turn regardless. That's pretty hot. Krang the All-Powerful. If a player drawing a card causes a triggered ability of a permanent you control to trigger, that ability triggers an additional time. Whenever a player draws their second card each turn, put a +1/+1 counter on Krang. Yes! It's finally my time! Oh, long have I suffered. Long have I suffered at the hands of the token makers. At the hands of the Flicker players. Draw Harmonicon, welcome to the table! I'm so happy. Does this cause when you draw your second card effects to double? Absolutely yes. If drawing a card made the thing happen, it happened more. It happened more. The Mike Wazowski army is even more real. Yeah, that's another Cowabunga for sure. That's one more Cowabunga, absolutely. All right, what's Leatherhead do? 7 mana for a 5/5. On attack, put 2 counters on each creature you control. Jesus. Okay. I think that is a regretful Cowabunga, but that is a Cowabunga all the same. Lita, Little Orphan Amphibian, a 2-mana 2/1. Whenever another creature you control enters, choose one that hasn't been chosen. Put a counter on, make a food, scry 1. Damn. I mean, I don't think you would ever make this a commander itself, but I think that pairs in really well with the rest of the precon. Gombi G1, thank you for the Prime sub. Welcome to the dog home, my friend. Imagine you're in a Magic duel and you're like, send in the orphan. I think that's fine for standard. I don't think that's gonna do too much in 60 card, but I don't play enough 60 card. Blue Jay, thank you for the 10 streams in a row. Welcome back to the dog park. Okay, this is Acidic Slime. We looked at him. Mona Lisa Science Geek, a 3-mana 1/3, add X mana of any one color where X is Mona Lisa's power. Sure. Yeah. I think pretty reasonable, almost definitely works very, very well in this deck, and then some decks will be able to use it for obscenely fraudulent activities. Damage doubler, Rat King Pale Piper. I'm not convinced I don't pay enough attention to rats to know if he's new or not, but he just makes rat tokens when non-token things leave, which seems fine. And he's also, a token sack outlet. Okay, Rat decks will like that, man. He knew. Good for the rat players. That's a Ratabunga. Ray Fillet Wave Warrior, a 3-mana 0/2 with flying and evolve. Whenever a creature you control with a counter on it deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. God, man. God. That's not necessary. You think he looks like a dumbass. Hold on. This is what my cat looks like when their face gets stuck in one of their play tubes. Hello, Coastal Piracy number 17. Yeah, at 3 mana, though. At 3 mana with flying and can and will get a counter on itself to be a draw engine. That's like, fuck, that's kind of good. Roadkill Rodney. A 2-mana 2/1 with squad 3 and death touch. Whenever they deal combat damage, make a mutagen. Okay, that's not great. That's not nothing. Very precon card. Rock Steady. Whenever a non-token creature you control enters, put a counter on target creature. Jesus. All right. Shredder, Shadow Master. Whenever they attack a player, for each other opponent, make a token that's a copy of Shredder tapped and attacking, but it's not legendary. Sack at end of combat. When they deal combat damage, that player loses half their life rounded up. Ugh. We're tired of everybody having hurt feelings when you quietest spike. We're now quietest spiking everyone. It's not Myriad because it gets around. It's Myriad, but it gets around the legend rule. Yeah, legendary Myriad. Fucked, absolutely fucked. All right, Slash Clone. This is another Hydra we've had before. We looked at Splinter. Tempestra. 2-mana 1/3, 3-mana tap, sack an artifact, make a token that's a copy of another creature you control, but it's not legendary. It gains haste, sacrifice it at the beginning of the next end step. Damn, that is really phenomenal with mutagen, and I think really terrible with everything else. Taka and Razor, unsupervised. 3-mana 3/3 first strike. Whenever a non-token creature you control leaves the battlefield, put a +1/+1 counter on Taka and Razor and create a treasure token. Triggers only once each turn. So the deck is just like, from turn 2 onward, I slam something and put a counter on it, and if you remove it, I put a counter on something else, and if I play a new thing, I get a counter on that thing, and then I get a counter on my whole board, and then they get lifelink, and then if you remove any of them, I board wipe your stuff. God damn. Okay, Cultivate, Blast Act, Fast Forward. Oh shit, goad all creatures your opponents control. That's cute. And we can make it cost 2 mana. That's really funny. That's kind of awesome, actually. I've seen so many board stalls happen because nobody, like, they're like, oh, I can't swing out and spread damage around because people will just hit me on the crackback. And now it's just like, nope. That's a cowabunga for sure. We're up to 4 cowabungas. Game over. The spell costs 2 less to cast if a player's life total is less than or equal to half their starting life total. Destroy all creatures. So it goes from 5 to 3. Am I a bad person if I enjoy this? Like, that's great. Good video game reference. Great board wipe. Because at the end of a game, like, there's so many games where the only reasonable thing to do is board wipe, and it feels so fucking bad to tap out, board wipe, and then essentially like skip your own turn. But it's like, oh, we're in the late game. I get to board wipe for half my mana, for a third of my mana. I can board wipe, and then I can do something else instead of just being like, I guess I skipped my turn to make everybody sad. Sure, harmonize. Good art though. Here comes a new hero. X2 and a blue. Target player draws X cards, make a token that's a copy of up to one target creature with mana value 2 or less. Fuck, I'm gonna play that. That's a cowabunga. Is it good? No. Am I gonna keep doing it? Yeah. Oh man. Oh. Oh. I'm putting that in VV. I'm putting that in VV immediately. Wildly inefficient. Wildly inefficient, but lets me draw cards, lets me copy things. Lessons from life. Horrifying. A 4-mana sorcery, draw 3. You may put a land card from your hand onto the battlefield tapped. So, okay. Yeah, fine. Whatever. More ramp. Yeah. It's X. It's X. It's X. Jesus. Moogleman13. Thank you for the Prime sub. I appreciate that generosity for the 3rd month in a row. Oh my god, it is just... it's just harmonized, but you ramp too. Super combo. A 2-mana sorcery with replicate of 2, so when you cast it, copy it for each time you paid the replicate cost. Target creature you control deals damage equal to its power to target creature an opponent controls. I don't want any green players I know to have this. That is another cowabunga under duress. I'm going to upgrade Can They Fight a Little Too Well to a Middle Too Well. Look closely at Lessons from Life's art that is MTG. I don't know if I like that. That feels a little like... That feels a little too Leonardo DiCaprio pointing meme. For me, like, it's just... Look, in my Magic game, I play the card where I play Magic. And then Vanquish the Horde, and then Wave Goodbye. I mean, I like Wave Goodbye. Vanquish the Horde just seems like generic board wipe. This is one of the 10 cards you cut. Like, you get this Precon, you play it, you look at Vanquish the Horde in your hand, and you go, oh, wait, I don't want to kill all my creatures. I have the best board. And then you put in, like, Hour of Conviction, whatever board wipe destroys creatures without counters on them, and you're like, I'm so smart. Damning Verdict, yeah. All right, instants. Continue, question mark. 1 and a white, instant, choose up to 4 target creature cards in your graveyard that were put there from the battlefield this turn. Return them to the battlefield. Y'all... That's not appropriate. That's not... Yeah, never mind. Vanquish the Horde is the completely right board wipe to play. Play Game Over, then play Continue. Holy shit. Yeah, 3 mana board wipe, 2 mana unboard wipe. And this is instant speed, so this is just I unboard wipe myself. Whenever? Cowabunga! 7 cowabungas. Game Over is not an instant. No. But like, continue being an instant. This is just... That's really powerful. I feel like most white decks... Not most. I won't say most. What's the... I feel like there are some white decks that will drop things like their indestructible effects for this. Not every white deck, obviously, because many white decks are on tokens, and Reanimate 4 doesn't help you with tokens. But I feel like there are some white decks that would look at like what their board states typically are, and would go like, oh yeah, re-getting any of my ETBs are in fact worth it. Yeah, Orzhov Heaven card, true. Sack everything. Sack everything in your Orzhov Aristocrats deck. Bring all the important guys back. All right, double jump flying kick. 2 mana instant, put a flying counter on target creature you control until end of turn. It has base power and toughness 5/5. Or an instant, target creature you control deals damage equal to its power to target creature an opponent controls. That's real nice. That's a real cute combat trick. Sure. Shell Shock. Wait, it has Fuse, you can cast both? Oh, I thought this was one of the pick ones. I didn't read, the reminder text is very, very tiny. So 4 mana, I make one of my things a 5/5, I put a flying counter on it, and then I shoot your guy. This is gonna, is this draft legal? Or is this commander only? Please be commander only. Okay, that looks like commander only. Thank fucking God. That I would have screamed and shouted so loud. Considering it has the commander set symbol, that is very interesting. Yeah, thank you for that. All right, Shell Shock. For each of, it's X and a red for an instant. For each opponent, choose up to 1 target creature that player controls. Shell Shock deals X damage to each of those creatures. You create a mutagen token for each creature dealt damage this way. That card's 2 Cowabungas. Holy shit. That's amazing. That's so fucking good. Instant speed. I get to take out a synergy creature on each person's board. This might be good even without mutagen, right? I would play it without mutagens. Yeah. I will probably slam this in like every deck with no way to use the mutagen. It does not bypass hexproof. It says target. It says target, but even without bypassing hexproof, like the reason this is incredible for me is not because it hits all the best targets, but because like every deck I play now, every game of Commander I play, there's some like fucked up 2 to 4 mana synergy creature that needs to die, but it's not worth spending single target removal on it, and it's not worth board wiping. And perfect card for that. Holy shit. I love, this is red Grasp of Fate. This is red's equivalent of Grasp of Fate. VV include? I think every red deck would run this. I think if you have a red deck that doesn't run this, you are an insane person. Yeah, now tiny creatures die to removal. They used to not. You can sad face all you want, Eric Baum, but like... This motherfucker used to be immortal. No longer. Do we swap into Biomancer's Familiar here to make the mutagen tokens good? I think the mutagen tokens are already way better than people think. I think mutagen tokens are already a good token, and people are sleeping on them like a motherfucker. So much of Commander, again, the like, what I talked about on that one podcast where I said combat pressure and removal, so many decisions in Commander are decided based on, oh, my creature is like, has 1 or 2 points of toughness high enough to go to combat. The mutagen tokens change that whole balance of power. Even if you're not doing the Leonardo Diet Cathar's Crusade thing, even if you're not triggering Michelangelo the Heart to put a counter on, being able to mana dump into like, oh, my blocker's good now, you can't attack me. Oh, my attacker's good enough now, you can't block me. They, I believe, will be way more impactful than people think. I think people think they are bad now, and I think they are much better than that. They're obviously not like, oh my god, I'm winning my bracket 3 games, or I'm influencing CEDH because of them. But they will turn the tide a lot more than you think. No, they're sorcery speed. If they were instant speed, I would actually think they were broken. If mutagen tokens could be activated at sorcery speed, they would be way too powerful. Okay, special move. 3 mana instant, choose 2. Destroy an artifact, put 2 counters on attacking or blocking creature you control, or target creature you control, shoot something, then you sacrifice it. Foot toss is very funny. That's dope. I think that's similar. I really like what they're doing with the removal in this deck. I really like they're doing more like, hey, you can do 2 things, you can do 3 things with this removal spell, because you need that, because removal is just so dog shit right now. I think I would yell Cowabunga when I did that. That's a 10. Okay, Swift Demise. 3 mana instant. Swift Demise deals 1 damage to target creature, then destroy each creature you don't control that was dealt damage this turn. That's bait. That's bait, obviously, but this is an insane card. What the hell? 1 damage to a creature. 1 damage to a creature, then everything you don't control that was dealt damage. So if I am in Rakdos and I can ping stuff, or somebody wait, instant speed, so somebody else goes to combat. Like 2 other people go to combat. And I just like one-sided blow you out. I'm actually gonna stand by it. Spells the average deck should cut Toxic Deluge for. I can't think of any deck that does damage like that enough to run this. Every deck ever. Every deck that has ever been able to block anything in the entire world. Maul, this effect barely even works in limited. Have a wonderful time being proved wrong. Yeah, it either reads all of my creatures have death touch, or if 2 people who were not me went to combat, I board wipe both of you. This is insanely good. This is diabolically good. Like, not every deck wants to cut Toxic Deluge specifically for it. I made that slide being like, oh, 0 decks would want to cut Toxic Deluge for this, but this is a funny joke. I think there is a statistically significant number of decks that would want to play this instead of Toxic Deluge, and I think many decks that have Toxic Deluge would want to run this on top of it. I don't think people block enough for this, LOL. I mean, that's a meta-specific problem. In all of my games, people block enough for this. You're also missing how a card like this will impact the meta when it is resolved once. Because if people don't already block enough for this to matter, and you tell people, and you lean over to somebody and be like, hey, Dustin's swinging out on you. I know you don't want to block, but if you do block, we can board wipe Dustin. And then I'll go easy on you for a turn so you can rebuild because you're taking the heat. Yeah, 3 open mana in black now threatens this card. And if you can get it to resolve in a good situation 1 time, people are terrified of it forever. Oh man, Electric Seaweed. Jesus. So it's a 7, with Seaweed, it's a 7 mana one-sided board wipe, which is like fair, but very funny. That's, damn. All right, Arcade Cabinet. On ETB, put a +1/+1 counter on each of up to 4 target creatures. 2, tap, sack a token, double the number of counters on target creature. Yeah, really, really cute. Way to use mutagen. I don't think this one is gonna like break containment crazy style, but for the Precon, you're happy to see this. Jortson, thank you for the raid, my friend. I hope you're having a good stream. Okay, Signet, Lantern, Coin of Mastery. 4 mana artifact. Each creature enters with an additional +1/+1 counter on it for each mana from an artifact source spent to cast it, or you can tap to make a treasure token. That is, that's very cute. There might be some colorless decks that care about this. I'm not even sure if this is new or not. But I feel like artifact ramp decks are going to be the ones that want this. Ooh, Shadow the Hedgehog card. That's adorable. Everything pizza. Fuck, I want pizza right now. 2 mana food artifact on ETB. Search for a bit. Why do I see 7 mana Wooburg activated ability on a fucking food token? So 7 mana, tap, sack. Target player gains 3 life and draws a card. Each of your opponent discards a card. This artifact deals 3 damage to any target. Put 3 counters on up to 1 target creature. That is... Wow, we got a lot of clearance when we leapt over that shark, huh? That's so funny. It's so stupid. That's so... God, I want that to work in standard. God, I want there to be... Because I know I've seen Ali Eldrazi working on like a 5-color control deck. God, do I want this to work in Pizza to Nothingness. Cow. I don't know if that's a cowabunga. I think that's just hell yeah times 2. Because I saw that and I wanted to get a pizza. Okay, Exploding Barrel, a 3 mana rock that says put a pressure counter on it. 8 mana, sack this artifact, deal 20 damage to a creature. Cowabunga! That's so heat, actually. That's so fucking heat. That's a 3 mana rock I would play. And costs 1 less to cast for each pressure counter on the artifact. Okay, so you play this on turn 3, and then after like 2 turns, you can tap out to do it, and then you can explosive barrel somebody. That's, God, that's good. Speak not the name of the brash taunter. Fuck off with the Night Yorb. Why does a random barrel do more damage than a 40-foot dinosaur? Because it's exploding. Do you not believe you could kill a dinosaur with an explosive? Okay, Foot Chopper. Horrifying. 2 mana equipment. When it enters, make a 1/1 ninja. Attach this equipment to it. Equipped creature has flying. When you deal combat damage to a player, you may sacrifice it. If you do, draw cards equal to power. That's... I am putting the other reptile in the little helicopter jetpack, and I am laughing all the way to the bank. That's awesome. That's a little bit awesome. Holy shit. Mole mine. I'm the Underminer. Okay, 5 mana, 6/6, vehicle with menace on combat damage, mill 4 cards, put a permanent from among them onto the battlefield. Okay, somebody's gonna make that work. That's peak bracket 2 gambling. Is this a Henzi card? You could do it in Henzi. I don't think it's like the most beautiful, perfect Henzi card ever, but I think this is perfect for like bracket 2 mess around decks. Bella will like it. Yeah, Bella will like it. Always a Soul Ring. Endless... Sorry, I'm good. I'm a professional. Our next card is the Endless Foot Assault. A 3-mana enchantment with squad of 1 and a white. Whenever you attack for each opponent, make a 1/1 black ninja creature token that's tapped and attacking that player. I'm going to throw up. I'm going to throw up. What do you mean infinite grippers? So 2 mana, I get Enchantment Adeline. 5 mana, I get 2 1/1s every time I swing. 7 mana, 3 1/1s every time I swing. 9 mana, 12 1/1s every time I swing. And if I have a token, if I'm like mono white, if I'm tokens George, the squad tokens copy. The squad tokens copy too. I'm counting each opponent in that math because 4 copies of Endless Foot Assault is 4 1/1s per opponent, which means 12 total. That goes in like every Mardu deck ever. Not half, not 3/4, 100%. I defy you to find me the Mardu deck that's not good in. Holy God. All right, high score. Listen, I started this stream glad they were cooking, and now I feel like we might have cooked a little bit too much. Like, I feel nervous. Okay, high score. If 1 or more counters would be put on a creature you control, that many plus 1 are put on it instead. At the beginning of your end step, draw a card if you control a creature with the greatest power among creatures on the battlefield. Sure, that's just whatever, the like 10th way to put counters and draw cards in green. Or like the 10th copy of this type of effect, whatever. Level up. Enchant creature on ETB, put a counter on it. Enchanted creature has, whenever this creature attacks, double the number of counters on it. Then if it has power 10 or greater, draw a card. Together forever. Oh, Ninja Pizza, sorry. Foods you control are now treasures, and at the beginning of your second main phase, make a food. That's hot, and I am nauseous. Stepped out for a second. What have I missed? Jomi Bug, you have missed generational power creep. Generational. You have missed the reason all you're seeing for the rest of the year is fucking turtles. What do we get? I am putting, I can read, so I'm putting Michelangelo as my other commander. Evolving Wilds for the planes that I don't have. Oh no, if I Evolving Wilds for the planes that I don't have, I'm not going to be able to get this guy on 2. We're going to pretend I did that to hand. Who cares? It's a playtest. I play a tap land. I draw that. I play this guy. Rocksteady, swing at whoever doesn't have a blocker. Or more realistically, yeah, playing Rocksteady gets me, oh fuck, and I tutored, God, I draw a card too. Okay, so I swing at somebody who has like a Llanowar elf. I swing at somebody who has a 2 toughness creature that they're not going to be willing to give up. I get a counter on him. I have, whatever, Foretell is going to be my food. I have 1 food. I play Leonardo. I put another counter on this guy, so he's a 4/3 now. I again swing at anybody who like can't really afford to block. Main phase 2, counter, food, counter on everybody from Leonardo. So I have 14 power on board, untapping on turn 5. Because there is a merciful god, I cannot color fix for heroes in a half shell. But I can, like... So I basic land cycle... Oh my... I basic land cycle for a swamp. I play my swamp. I wave goodbye. Everybody else's board is gone now. I swing 14 power. I deal 14 damage. I get a token, which gets me a food. Or I get a counter, I get a food, which gets me another counter on everybody. I end turn 5 with 18 power on board. And I have bounced everybody. Now I can either Wooburg to get Menace, Trample, and Lifelink, or I can Wooburg to draw 3 cards and continue to... Like, I have Harmonize in my hand. Who needs to draw cards? Everything was either in my command zone or replaced itself. So I play this guy. Yu-Gi-Oh! 3D Master, I hate to introduce you to the concept of swinging at different players. Because it's combat damage to a player, so if I hit 3 players 3 times. Spread the damage. On damage, counter, counter, counter. Draw 3. Main phase 2, raid trigger. So counter on Michelangelo. Leonardo triggers, counter on everything. I have to discard to maximum hand size. I mean, Coin of Mastery can get the fuck out of here. I play a Thriving Land. I mean, at this point, I feel like I have the table just dead to rights. Like, either I get board wiped here, right? If I get board wiped here, sure. But if I don't get board wiped... Oh, sorry, I'm missing a counter, because when I play a non-token, I get another +1/+1 on somebody. I don't have Leatherhead mana, actually, because I can't play an untapped land. Yeah, we did, Dirty. We did notice. I don't think Harmonize is worth playing here. I think this is where we could very easily look for like a Seaweed Snipe. If anybody's a token player. If anybody is a token player, we can snipe basically every blocker because our toughness is 7. And then we go to combat and we beat the fuck out of everybody. Okay, we have City of Brass opening hand. So draw whatever, draw whatever, play. Well, would we play Michelangelo? I think we play Bebop on turn 2. I pick white. I go to combat. I swing a Death Toucher, who you're probably not going to block. Oh my god, and I get to tutor Rocksteady because they have fucking partner. Holy shit. So I play this guy, swing my Death Toucher. I get my food. That's a food now. I get my counter. I'll put it on him. We miss a land drop because there is a merciful god. I'm going to play this so I can get Donatello out. Swing my 3/2 Death Toucher now. Food, counter. Turn 5. This looks closer to Precon gaming. But then I do this. I have a 4/3 Death Toucher. I have 1 mana up, but 1 mana up doesn't really matter. Oh, fuck. Bebop would be drawing cards. Like, maybe he's getting chumped, but I probably have drawn at least 1 card. I swing him again. Either I draw a bunch of cards, or I don't even care, because I get raid. I put a counter on everybody. I would actually probably put Michelangelo's counter on her, because now she taps for 3, and then I tap 3 for Rocksteady. I don't control a mountain or a forest. Jesus. Arcade cabinet. 1, 2, 3, 4. All these guys get bigger. I spend 4 on this. I put a counter on this guy. Now all of my creatures can attack with flying. And then I just keep... Fuck, man. It more than works. I'm verging on uncomfortable with how well it works. Will you do upgrades for this mold? I don't think there is. No, because I think this works. Like, I didn't do upgrades for the Blight Precon because I think it generally worked. I did the video for fixing Ashling because I think they spiritually failed with Ashling. I think spiritually this does what it's meant to do. This is insane. Because there's obvious stuff, right? Like, you could put in free spells, for example. In a 5-color deck, hey, guess what? Rhystic Study's still a good card. Hey, 5-color deck, guess what? Fierce Guardianship, right? Game Changers are still good cards. This is the only precon for turtles. But that almost, like... Someone please give Gavin Verre his meds. This almost makes me mourn, like, true casual a little bit. Because no shade to any of the deck builders. This is a lot better than a lot of decks people show me. This is much more powerful than a lot of the decks people are like, ooh, this deck is really fun for me to play. And that makes me kind of sad. Like, it makes me happy in a way. It makes me happy in a way. But it does make me kind of sad that that's the entry point of Commander now. Because I do love a clunky deck from time to time. I love a deck that's struggling to do something a little bit tough, and you have to now, like, explain to the new player who got in because of turtles, like, oh yeah, that thing you bought off the shelf is actually going to kick the shit out of a lot of decks. I really don't think this is bracket 3. It could hang. It's certainly not the high end of bracket 3. It's certainly not the high end of bracket 3. It can't really do anything. It can't do much to stop a combo player other than just like swing at them every turn in a row, but it's not going to go lethal on them quickly enough. But I think it's at the pretty high end of bracket 2, and would not feel, it would not drown in bracket 3. I think it depends on if future precons get better. This might just be the beginning and not an exception. That's what makes me sad, though. Like, I'm sad at the idea that this is the standard for a precon. I'm struggling to communicate this effectively. Like, I'm struggling with the idea that this is the weakest decks get now. Like, it feels like we're leaving behind an era of Commander where you can play clunkier decks in Gen Pop, which may end up being good. Right, I don't know about death of bracket 2, but I think the upward compression of bracket 2. Do you think it's because they want to charge more for the decks? I think it's because they wanted to make sure Turtles did well. Right, like they had, they obviously they weren't changing the decks in time for this, but I think they probably knew ahead of time was going to be, they probably knew ahead of time that Spider-Man was going to do really bad. I think they knew people were upset about not getting an Avatar precon, and so they probably went like, this is our, first big UB precon since Final Fantasy, right? We gotta swing this one out of the park. We've had above average strength Commander precons before too, right? But I do think it's getting more common. I'm not saying this is like the moment of no return, or like, oh my god, this precon's way too good. I'm just seeing a pattern where, like, slowly but surely, the precons are getting better and better and better, and are definitely pushing out some other strategies. Like, I looked at a Clue deck yesterday for a review, and they were like, yeah, I want to use clues to generate some like tempo, and then use, the big clue finishers as a way to end the game. But I love just like getting in for a little bit of damage, getting my value, and like that strategy just fucking can't keep up with this. This is just like once a turn Cathar's Crusade at 4 mana, when you have another commander at 2 mana to trigger him, is just too much value. And so I kind of feel torn on that. Like, I think it's less of like, oh, the precon overall is strong, and it's just like everything makes so much value. Everything gives you so much stuff. Holy hell. Every removal spell kills 3 guys or doubles as a one-sided board wipe. One of my removal spells doubles as a counter maker. My counter makers have trample and draw me cards. My non-counter makers are also draw engines. I don't think it's decision fatigue. I don't think you have many important decisions to make. I think this is a very well-built precon from the standpoint of it is simple as shit to play. It is simple as shit to play. You put Michelangelo in the command zone. You always play Michelangelo on turn 2 if you don't have another 2-drop. And if you have another 2-drop, you play the 2-drop on turn 2, Michelangelo on turn 3, and then Donatello on turn 4. Works. Works, for sure. So I do not think it is... you might have missed triggers with this deck, because you have a lot of different things that can put, like, one counter here, one counter there, one counter everywhere. Oh, Leonardo, not Donatello. Why do I keep mixing these two up? There's my partner, draw me a card. Oh my god, yeah, man. Oh, but I don't have white. God bless. God bless. Does it even matter that I don't have white? Because I just play Michelangelo instead. Okay, it's still got a little bit of precon clunkiness. You can keep a hand if your hand doesn't fix for your 2-drop and for Michelangelo. We back to that precon vibe. That's crazy. Arrow Zero land base is like one of the best land bases I've ever seen in a precon. One of the best land bases I've ever seen. Is this winning a precon league or? I think it would be up there. I think predicting if you're going to win a precon league is impossible because Commander is a unfair 4-player game that you should not be making predictions about. Yeah, the curve's wild. The curve is crazy responsible. Damn. All right, final opinion. Good. And it's so good, it makes me mournful. And I'm not convinced that's a bad thing yet, because change isn't always bad, but this feels like another step in the direction of wow, cards do a lot now. You go, Mikey. I think the only situation in which you would ever go April is if you're in a local meta where you don't think you can swing. Because April gives you your token just for having a turtle come in. Mikey gives it for attack, but he also gives a counter, which is overall better. But if you're in a meta where you're like everybody's playing a 1-drop and they will block my ass, you would do April. Splinter also seems like an okay option to me. That is a lie. I'm not about to get mogged by a turtle precon. I have terrible news for you, Mr. Rogers. Jesus. Is Master Shredder going in Henzi? Maybe. I think the problem with Master Shredder is in Henzi, I'm playing him what? Like turn if I'm getting a God curve turn 3, if I'm not turn 4, and if I'm playing him turn 4, everybody's just blocking him. You just buy this for the new cards and reprints. If you can find it at MSRP, this precon is probably worth buying just for the land base. If you play decks of multiple colors. I think once we go past the land base, it's like the easiest yes ever. Game Over is a very good card that will be very expensive. Super Combo is a very good card. Continue is an insanely good card. Endless Foot Assault is an immediate commander staple. Shell Shock should be an immediate commander staple. And that's without even getting into any of the stuff that could operate as like a good synergy piece for you. This has like 5 non-lands that I think go in, or like 5 non-lands where the only reason you wouldn't put them in a deck is for theme. If you were just looking for an appropriate card that did the thing you want to do, you yell Cowabunga and you get in the fucking Foot Chopper. Yeah, they are very, very, very trying to make you buy this. What's the price right now? $61. God damn. And it is like, it is worth it. Holy hell. God, and Roadkill Rodney's so cute. 60 plus shipping and tax, but yeah. Yeah, but if you're somebody who's paying attention to how much your specific cards cost, you get the 60 in tax back from the lands. You could dead ass go, I'm not gonna use a single non-land card in the deck. And it would be a worthwhile purchase if you just wanted to get at the bond lands in the City of Brass. And then I think Hidden Hideout is another pretty good 5-color land. I'm a little tired of WotC saving all the cookery for Universes Beyond, boss. Our memories cannot be that short. We must listen. Listen, man. I don't like corporatism any more than you do, but we gotta put some goddamn respect on the bug spacecraft. This has been out single-digit months. We just had Lorwyn. You gotta put some respect on Jund Bigness right now. Even if you were like, if you disagreed with me on the Ashling Precon, you gotta put some fucking respect on Ashling the Limitless right now. Every Tarkir Precon. Like, we can't. I'm so down to chew them out for being sellouts. But it's not like we're only cooking for Universes Beyond. They just haven't left the kitchen in a fucking year. Honestly, I am debating trying to buy it for lands and few cards like the Foot Assault and continue. If I was in the position of buying cards to use legal copies at my LGS, I would buy this Precon. I don't think I've ever said that about a Precon. This is the first one where if I wanted to get my collection, or if I played multiple colors of Magic decks and I had a need for land fixing and I could use any of the non-lands we talked about, I would buy this Precon. Because I think that maybe they already are. I know that pre-sale prices are often inflated. But I would say Game Over is probably going to be a double-digit price card. Continue's definitely going to be. Shell Shock should be. If this is not an expensive card, I think people are wrong and they will one day wake up and it will become an expensive card. Same thing goes for Swift Demise. Not necessarily special move. That one's cute, but it's not insane. Endless Foot Assault. And then there will be people who are buying it just for Exploding Barrel. Even though the card's not crazy, it's very, very funny. And then we have other things like a legend rule breaking copy at 3 mana. Card draw Panharmonicon. If you would utilize like City of Brass, any other land, and any one card that we just called out, it is probably like a net zero purchase versus buying singles. I hope this means bond lands and precons becomes the norm. That would be nice, wouldn't it? Hey, listen, hey. That would be so nice, wouldn't it? Face reward? Maybe I'm wrong. Yeah, maybe it is just face reward. It is half the price of face reward. Nani the fuck? You a BAMP player? The difference between passing the turn with because if you're on like Orzhov, if you're on Orzhov, I sack my whole board, then cast this same card. If you just want to like hold it up as a response, the difference between holding up 2 mana and holding up 4 mana, heaven and earth. Heaven and earth. Cauldron Haze is the closest. Oh yeah, this is the closest and it's $6. They only put in 2 of the 10 Battle Bond lands. Brought back. Let's see. That's two. What if I got this but twice as many? And I only had to get 1 pip. Nani? Really low supply? Yeah, this is a Precon. It's got the commander symbol. It's not main set, right? Brought back is permanent though, so can't be much better. You are smoking crack, respectfully. Crazy good card. The Eventide $6 card is low supply. I'm saying this is low supply. Like, I think good cards that are only printed in precons tend to have that same type of thing happen. Because there's been a ton of times we check on reprints, which is different from the only version of the. I'm not rage baiting myself. I have enough times looked at a card that is good, and then we look up the price, and the price is high, and we go, why is the price high? And we go, oh, because it was only ever printed in one precon, and then we go, ah, I am not engaging in this. Legacies, thank you for the Twitch follow. Welcome to the doghouse, my friend. Jesus, that's so good. I mean, I do think they have the 10 cards that people will cut to upgrade this. Like, I think Big Mother Mouser could get cut. Aggro Amalgam could probably get cut because it's not, the deck's not making a tremendous amount of mana. You probably do swap out Vanquish the Horde for something else and then use Continue as a protection spell. You probably cut Kang in this version of the deck because we don't have enough other... Like, Krang was printed for other decks, not this one. You probably cut Rat King. You would... You would probably end up cutting Roadkill Rodney. Probably Coin of Mastery too. Probably Mole Module as well. Maybe not necessarily. But like there's a lot of stuff. where you could be like, oh man, I'm in literally all 5 colors. Do I want more removal? Would I like a counter spell? You have plenty of things that are weak enough to cut for counter magic, to cut for a protection spell, to cut for tutors if you want to try to make it bring it up further into bracket 3. And that's all without even touching the land base. Because I don't even think you need... Maybe you do with this many 4-drops and 5-drops. Right, the symmetrical wipes in I have a creature deck and I'm trying to beat you to death is a mistake, and those are things you would swap out for asymmetrical wipes, but they do that with basically every precon. Roads, it would be right now. The baseline for a precon bracket 3 instead of bracket 2 from now on, I think the baseline is becoming closer to the border between bracket 3 and bracket 2. I don't think this is like... If you sat down with this at a bracket 2 table, I think you would be one of the strongest decks at the table. I don't think people would go like, that's not bracket 2 at all. I think you are able to keep up at lower power bracket 3, and I think you are 5 to 10 swaps away from being a pretty solid bracket 3 beatdown deck. So it's not that we have moved up to bracket 3, we have gotten a lot closer to the barrier. Also, Garong, thank you very, very much. So what's really funny is even with the bracket system, I think we're gonna end up returning to the era of, oh, are we playing better than Precon or worse than Precon? Because there's a lot of decks, like a deck I want to build is Tella. That's worse than this deck. For sure. The Tella, like, not in the like, oh my god, you can't make Tella better than this. But the way it would be fun for me to make a Tella deck is worse than that Turtles deck. Hands down. Hands down. And so I think we're going to return to, like, bracket 2 specifically is going to go, hey, are we better or worse than Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles? Is this or VV Stompy better? VV Stompy's better. I think this would be... I think VV Stompy would have a harder time with this deck because the interaction in VV Stompy is built to deal with individual threats more than like I have 4 medium threats, but I have stuff in VV Stompy that can deal with 4 medium threats as well. Hey boss, give me a creative and interesting win con for Fire Lord Azula. Doesn't exist. Creative and interesting with Fire Lord Azula is nothing. The creative and interesting thing you can do with Fire Lord Azula is like heal people's stuff by ignoring timing restrictions. So I could say win with the stuff you steal. But I think the most you can hope for with Azula is for creative board states to occur. Your win, the destination is not going to be interesting. The journey can be interesting because you have made the journey out of this cobbled together stolen board state. Is this April O'Neil from the Team Up box going to break Urza Lord High Artificer? Absolutely not. I mean, obviously, Urza Lord High Artificer is already broken. But no chance. Oh, Pedgman, you dumb son of a bitch. Firelord Azula is the copying one, not the stealing one. Wrong. It's the stealing one. When I cast a spell out of your hand in the middle of the combat damage step, Azula is attacking, and I double the thing I stole. When I swing a tally and resolve her attack trigger while Azula is attacking, I copy all the things I stole. When I have a flash enabler and cast bribery in the middle of the combat step while Azula is attacking, I double bribery you. Firelord Azula is the theft one. Yeah, but Nathan Drake is dog shit. Okay, we gotta go to the manual ad break. I'm gonna check on Z, and then we might have some League of Legends to play. The Canadian Laddie, thank you for the Prime sub for the second month in a row. Welcome back to the dog home. Stalking Bunny Stompy viewer here, voting Mono Green Loot is better than Azula. You're gonna be banned, but thank you for that Prime sub, my friend. You are never getting your fucking money back. Okay, baby. All right, Z says they need 5 minutes, which means we're going to look at custom cards. Also, contained animosity. Thank you for the 100-bit cheer. I did enjoy V Rising. I don't think we're going to keep playing it. It was good, but not good enough. Also, we have a Golden Kappa train, which we can get a freaky little emote. Beautiful. All right, we're going to hit the manual ad break. And I am going to set the custom card redeems live. And we're going to do those right now because Z needs a few minutes before we transition. Did you ever say you went on Scry Babies? I don't know if I promote it. Great, we have our custom card submitted. I think a great standard for today would be, is your custom card good enough for the Turtles Precon? First up, we have Rinny with Glorb the Lucky. A Rakdos 1/1 goblin, can't be countered. Spells you cast can't be countered. Ward, win a coin flip. Other creatures you control have ward, win a coin flip. Rakdos, when target player flips a coin, they flip it again. The second result must be used. Why did we power creep Hexing Squelcher? I mean, maybe not strict power creep because now we have another color you have to play, but why did we go Hexing Squelcher? It was made to annoy CEDH players. I think you've murdered them if you show them this card. Yeah, absolutely unprintable. Absolutely unprintable. Next, we have Pandemonia, a 4-mana Grixis 2/3. They're a demon god, and at the beginning of your upkeep, you may discard a card. That's Eminence, by the way. Wait, no, fuck you. Hold on, stop. Stop. I don't even have to miss my land drop to turn 1 reanimate something? No, I'm not reading the rest of your card. Get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here. Orange lime pie, beautiful. 4 mana food artifact. When you sack orange lime pie, target opponent sacks 2 permanents, and then you sack this, gain 3 life. That's evil. That's evil if you ever... Does it give you diarrhea? Why are other people sacrificing 2 permanents? Well, it's 6 mana? Yeah, I've never known an artifact deck to have a way to sacrifice and recur artifacts for free. I don't know how you would do it because I don't play enough artifact decks. But man, if you can loop this. Man alive. Well, yeah. KCI to... The sacrifice part is easy. It's about getting the 4 mana artifact back to field for a cheap amount. Okay. Back to Pandemonia. Death Touch, Menace, Ward, discard a card. At the beginning of your end step, draw a card for each card discarded this turn. Whenever Pandemonia deals combat damage to a player, you may cast target non-creature spell in your graveyard until end of turn. Hellbent, the spell costs 0 if you have no cards in hand. Yeah, way too fucking good. What I think would fix this for me is if it was not a May. Eminence, you have to discard. That way you have the ceiling as, okay, turn 1, I'm going to get to reanimate something. But if I don't have reanimate and my reanimate target in hand, I'm just down a card on everybody until I play this guy, and then they're just a looter. Great. Green Skis, thank you for the 2 gifted subs for pushing that golden hype train. Welcome back to Dog Heaven, my friend. Alright, and then from Pedgeman, Hassan of the Cursed Arm. A 4 mana Grixis 2/3 Death Touch First Strike. When he dies, he deals damage equal to his power to each opponent, and it has Noble Phantasm, which means if we control the creature, we can cast the card on the right by discarding a non-land. This is Delusional Heartbeat, a triple black sorcery. Until end of turn, when assassins you control gain, whenever an opponent is dealt damage by this creature, they lose life equal to the life they lost this turn. I don't love the play pattern, but I see what you're going for. Because if we get any of the stuff like Quietus Spike that says you lose half your life, and then we stack the triggers such that you lose half your life, and then you lose life equal to the life you lost, you get somebody. I do not like what happens when you normalize that, but I can see what you're going for, and I think you costed it appropriately. Yeah, baby? B. Oh, T. Noble Phantasm doesn't work. All custom mechanics have the reminder text, it works. Alright, last but not least, we have Elikman with Spanner, Tempered Flame. A Jeskai 2/3 with Vigilance. You may activate Equip and Craft abilities anytime you could cast an instant. Craft with vehicle and non-artifact creature. Common Rider Valvarad. 4/5 with First Strike and Vigilance. Has the activated and triggered abilities of the cards used to craft it. Tap, transform any number of double-faced artifacts you control. Transform this guy. Okay. What I like about this is I think we have a good balance between front side and back side. Because having played against a non-legend that does this, activating equip abilities at instant speed is the flat-out most annoying shit anybody can do in the world ever. Oh my god. Oh my god, is it just immediately, alright, we can't target anything on this person's board. We cannot swing at them with anything that matters. And then the backside, you get to do some cutesy-wootsy steal abilities. And then we have a reason we would want to transform him back to get the benefit of double face stuff. I like this one a lot. There's probably some way to go infinite with the backside. I would not worry about it too much. I think this fucks, Alec, man. I think this is very, very good. Okay, it's now time to go to League of Legends. So, YouTube, I'm going to close this stream and then restart it. Z and I are going to play ranked League of Legends together if you want to stick around for that. Just hold on, but the stream's going to go down, then come back up so we can get 2 separate VODs. Twitch, I'm just going to change the titles. You're all trapped here.